Hey everyone, this is Bulbatrainer. I hope you all enjoyed last week's video, and if you're new here, then welcome. To all of my subscribers, I want you to know how much I appreciate you, and it's a lot. You're giving me the drive to keep making content. I really appreciate you being here. I'm still excited about making lists, and I want to return to the elemental typing, but not this week. This week, I wanted to combine theory and list making. This week, I glanced at my idea board and saw one I had written before I had even created the channel. As I've said before and will say again, I love history. I eventually would like to make a video or even a series of videos on the Pokemon that historical figures might have had. Kaiser, correct pronunciation, Mansa Musa, Dido, the Queen, not the singer, and Qin Shi Huang were some thoughts. But it also made me think about the professions in history with importance that might have also developed particular Pokemon preferences, mainly professions that today are significantly different from their historical counterparts. For example, blacksmithing is something that people still take up as a hobby or profession, but the necessity of the art for our daily lives has diminished with the rise of automation. That's the line I'd like to preserve for this list on my top 10 warrior Pokemon. I'm not talking about modern soldiers. I'm thinking more in line with what Boudica or Achilles might have wanted by their side. Also, this video is not meant to glorify war, but when you study history, martial affairs are always one of the most important aspects. Also, remember that warriors and heroes don't always fight other humans. In this fantastical world, it could be an evil dragon, or a basilisk, or a minotaur. That the Pokemon battles we play today evolved from actual combat is one of my theories on their origins, in fact. And yes, there will be a video on that. So, I want you to picture yourself a few centuries in the past. Maybe Rome or feudal Japan, maybe pre-contact Aquateca, or maybe just the Pokemon world a few centuries ago. You're a warrior, and what Pokemon you might want with you in that environment. I have no reason to believe that the Pokemon world didn't have its own era of feudal battles. It's certainly seen some threats of the chosen one variety, and these are the Pokemon that I like to think might have been the most useful in that age. Number 10, Aegislash. Sometimes I feel that this Pokemon isn't well loved by the community. I've seen it pop up in unpopular or worst Pokemon lists from time to time, and I personally do not see why. Since it was first announced, a family of possessed swords has always seemed pretty cool to me, and for the purposes of this list are perfect. A lot of great warriors are exactly that because of their swordplay, and since the entire line is made up of possessed bladed weapons, it wouldn't be surprising if they were capable of being used by humans in the exact same manner, only with a little bit of an edge, pardon the pun, over others on the field. Since this sword and shield is more or less alive, momentary lapses in judgment or bad form can be corrected for by the Pokemon itself. If you drop it, it's unlikely that it'll allow itself to be picked up by someone else, and even if someone does manage to grab it, there's that whole life energy sucking thing that happens. How could you not want this Pokemon by your side in battle? Finally, the legends say that whoever Aegislash allows to wield it is destined to be monarch. True or not, you can't deny the psychological impact of such circumstances. Number 9, Skarmory. Skarmory have always fascinated me. I won't pretend that it's my favorite of either the steel or flying types, but I've always loved the concept of the metal bird, and I think that's why it ended up on this list. Flight has tactical importance. It lets you gain the high ground and makes you a difficult target. Flying through the air is dangerous though. A fall from any significant height is fatal to us squishy humans. Skarmory has built-in protection to make this less likely though. A steel body would offer a degree of protection against any hazards that might present themselves. One who holds the high ground has the advantage, and a bird with razor-sharp wings will get you there with ease. As an added benefit, their feathers can even be removed, with their use as swords in the past being documented, giving you some nice throwing knives in the air. Overall though, This bird has the intimidation factor that the previous entry had going for it. If you saw someone bearing down on you on the back of a Skarmory, I'm sure you would probably think twice before charging forward. Number 8, Samrat. Samurai Otter. Maybe the second bit doesn't have as much strategic use, but that first part is certainly what I was thinking of when I came up with the idea for this video. Samrat remains one of my favorite starters, but this isn't about that. This is about the quadruped that can carry you out of rough spots, can put out any fire hazards on the battlefield, and can even carry swords of its own. Sure, maybe it starts off as a cute little companion that likes to sing its own name while wandering around, but it becomes the formidable Pokemon, whose very cry can make enemies lose their nerve. Tell me a samurai flick made in the Pokemon world wouldn't naturally include this Pokemon. And not just because of its name either. It's versatile on land and water, and since it's coated in armor and comes with its own sword, it's the type of companion that wouldn't need your protection. It can handle its own. Number 7, Shion and Zenta. Warrior Pokémon. It's in their description. I know I normally tend to exclude legendary Pokemon from these lists, and in this case I feel there was even more reason than normal to do so, as a lot of people would probably just pick a legendary Pokemon to go into battle with, but in this case, I had to make an exception. If Samrat gave me the idea for the initial concept of this list, Shion and Zenta gave me the precedent. These two are old, really old, and are based on weapons from our own warrior age, which led me to believe that this list may have some in-universe historical importance. They might be rivals or they might be siblings, but I could see some hero of the past walking with these two flanking them, the iconic sword and shield of a hero personified as powerful Pokemon capable of defeating some of the darkest threats in the Pokemon world, which is almost their exact backstory. The combination of a fairy tale hero, see what I did there, and a wolf is even refreshing, as usually wolves are antagonists in those types of stories, and they fit the role of warrior Pokemon really well. It wouldn't be too hard to imagine a peaceful knight sitting with her two friends in the hero of many battles form, until a messenger Talonflame comes up and warns her of a rampaging Eternatus, and she leaps into battle with her crowned sword and shield by her side. Number 6, Rapidash. Where would a brave knight be without their noble steed? Well, nothing against Donkey, but if you're going to lead the cavalry in the battle against the forces of darkness, you're going to want something to light the way, and a horse with a flaming mane will tend to do that. It'll also give you an edge, having a mount with diamond-hard hooves and a horn that can do some serious damage. Rapidash may be inspired by the usually peaceful unicorn, but from the first time I saw it, I knew it was closer to Bucephalus, the horse that Alexander the Great rode into battle. There's a reason that history is full of equestrian portraits, and that's because it's tough to match the energy of someone on a horse. But a horse on fire has an altogether stronger effect. Rapidash is also naturally an alternative mount to Samrat for fast land travel, and with alternative typing for those grass-based baddies in the way. Rapidash just is the perfect horse for any knight of legend. Number 5, Korbinite. Speaking of knights, do you know when the best time to do your intelligence gathering is? Night. And do you know what would drastically help in the nighttime? A dark bird based on one of our smartest animals. And its name is Korbinite. That's it. That's the joke. Its size might be a bit of a hindrance, but this Pokemon is equipped to be a great nighttime scout. The blades on its wings are just the Bako bits on the armor, coloring, and intelligence. Did you know that the Corvidae are some of the most intelligent animals in our world? As they're used in the Galar taxi service in Galar, we know these fictional versions of them are just as clever, and that's why they'd be great at scouting ahead for dangers or even keeping watch at night. Since Korbinite has the ability to fly and carry large loads, it can even be used for a stealthy twilight escape. The steel-tempered feathers will also ensure that on the off chance it is spotted, any attacks can be safely deflected. Number 4. Blissey. Blissey doesn't seem like an instinctual choice for a list like this, at least not compared to some of the others, but hear me out. Blissey has several attributes that would make any hero certainly consider bringing her along. First, she's a healer. On the battlefield, an advantage would definitely be with someone who had the ability to heal on the go, without extra medicines, even if they're available, weighing them down. Blissey is known for exactly this ability. The last-minute discovery of a nefarious plot won't have to slow our potionless warrior down. They know that the Blissey in their bag is all they'll need to pull through. And even though it's a bit odd, Blissey does produce daily eggs that are supposedly delicious and nutritious, so that's a bonus. In an emergency, any warrior would have a meal of questionable sourcing, but undeniable benefit. Finally, Blissey can learn Sing, which has obvious tactical uses. Yes, the racket is going to draw those baddies to your camp, but it's also going to put them to sleep, allowing you to make a less than stealthy getaway, but still a getaway. Number 3. Zoroark. While the other Pokemon on this list have a wide variety of ways to be useful, Zoroark is mainly here for its ability, Illusion. If you know your enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles, wrote Sun Tzu in The Art of War. While Zoroark may not help you gain enlightenment of yourself, its ability can ensure you don't suffer the same ignorance of your enemy. A crucial battle, a town in jeopardy. You, the hero, sends out your Zoroark and instructs it to gain intel on the advancing army. Affecting the illusion of a ranking officer, the Zoroark slips into the enemy camp and returns a few hours later. Still in its guise, it informs you of the much-needed food supplies by the opposing side that are being delivered that day. Sneaking through the woods, you damage a levee on the opposite side of their camp, causing the roads to be flooded. A few hours later, with food unable to pass, the army withdraws in solemn defeat. If discretion is the better part of valor, then the embodiment of that ideal is Zoroark, who, due to its ability, is capable of infiltration tactics and espionage that might make battle not necessary. Number 2. Machamp. Not everything is flashy weapons. Sometimes, as many in the world today still believe, the best way to defend oneself is through hand-to-hand combat. Since Machamp are said to know every martial art style ever invented, I'm pretty sure that, no matter who you are, you could learn a thing or two from one. It would be there by your side on the battlefield too. When things get rough and weapons are dropped, this Pokemon just might mean the difference between life and death. 5,000 punches a second might be slightly less than what I can pull off. Just kidding. But it would certainly be enough speed and force in the event a bodyguard is needed also. Some of the Pokemon in this list have featured stealth tactics in their attributes, and if you can gain the sneak advantage on someone else, they can also do it to you. Having a Machamp hanging around would be useful to a warrior who can't watch their back every moment of every day, and Machamp's strength would be enough to contend with anything that arises. Number 1. Nidoking and Nidoqueen. These two Pokemon have always seemed like total tanks. In the first generation of games, they were some of the most sought after, and it's no wonder why. Look at them. You're telling me that you wouldn't want to ride into a valley of orcs on the back of one of these, sword held high? No? Oh. Well, that's why I'm a nerd. I don't think they're only useful in battle either. These two are poison types, and as anyone who has ever had poisoning in a Pokemon battle can tell you, it's not a fun time. The ability to craft sleeping agents would be invaluable to a warrior facing a siege, and the horns themselves mean that no one gets too close when you're in battle. Both Pokemon are known for their ferocity and strength, and would be difficult with rock-hard exteriors to be significantly damaged in battle. You cannot imagine much better warrior Pokemon than these two. And that brings an end to this list. As I mentioned on Twitter, link in the description, I had a bit of anxiety about this list, It's something that really interests me, but I don't know that my interests always align with everyone else's. However, this video will tie into a future theory, and I still had a lot of fun making it. If you did like this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up or a comment, and if you haven't already, I would really appreciate a subscription if you want to see more. Next week, I want to focus on the Pokédex and why it seems to contain so many inaccurate or impossible statements. What's going on there? Well, tune into next week's theory to find out. As always, I will see you all next time, and please stay safe.